It's time for Living Your Purpose, a motivational and inspirational podcast with Peter and Joyce Nielsen.
Hey everybody, welcome to Living Your Purpose podcast. I'm Peter Nielsen with my lovely wife Joyce, and we're just happy you're here, whether you're tuning in from the West Coast, the East Coast, my friends up in Canada, or whether you're tuning in anywhere in the world on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud, social media. We just thank you. If you like the content, just press the subscribe button below and you can be part of this each and every week. You know, it has been so hot outside, and I know you love hot weather, but you've been staying inside in the air conditioning even more.
You know what? I do love hot weather. However, the humidity is a killer. And with the heat advisories, you know, I took the kids to Cedar Point the other week, and it was a scorcher. And as much as I love to be out in the sun and sunbathe and do sports and stuff, it's the humidity that kills it. So today we thought, how important is it to talk about hydration?
Yeah, it really, really is. And I think that, you know, being on the Today Show when I started television with NBC, one of the first things that created kind of some, the lights were going on in the control room where people were calling, making sure that I was saying what I was saying correctly. And you know, there's so much to know about water. I mean, when you think about it, our planet Earth is 75% water.
Yes, as our bodies, correct?
Our bodies are 75% water. Our blood is 80% water. Even our hard bones are 23% water. So if you dehydrate, you know, someone that's say 160 pounds, and you just made them into bones and organs, they'd be about 60 pounds. So it's really important to make sure that you hydrate yourself, whether it's cold outside, whether it's hot outside. It's very, very important. It's going to speed your metabolism. It's going to give you more energy. It's going to help you feel better from the inside out. So this is a topic that's near and dear to everything that I educate, you know, tens upon thousands of people throughout the course of my career.
Yeah, and there's so many important functions that water plays that a lot of people don't even realize.
And I think one of the things that people don't realize about water is that if you drink caffeine, alcohol, even if you have some over-the-counter, say, headache medicine, you know, and I'm not talking bad about anything, but like, you know, whether it's Excedrin or Additives, they have caffeine in it as well. So you just need to understand that anything that's going to dehydrate you, you need to then surplus with more hydration and more water. So if you're drinking a lot of soda pop that has, you know, caffeine in it, it's going to dehydrate you. When you get dehydrated, your body goes into an emergency mode. So it's basically holding on to every drop of water, saying the last thing that it's caring about is facilitating excess body fat. It's looking to just survive. But what it does is it slows the process down of metabolism, of just your functions with your kidneys, your heart. Your heart has electrical current running through it. So you dehydrate yourself with sodium, potassium, chloride. That's your electrolytes. So it's so important to make sure you flush your system out. If you're retaining water, which is sodium, between muscle and tissue, a lot of women during their menstrual cycle will say they could gain anywhere from 1 to 7 pounds. And they're going to say, well, I'm going to dehydrate. I'm not going to drink water. Wrong. Drink more water so that you're basically flushing out that sodium that's making you look bloated. You're going to urinate that off, and then 75% of your muscles are water. It's going to go into the cells of your muscles, and it's going to make you look more trim. So it's really crazy on how people sometimes are afraid of water. And don't allow thirst to be your meter of water needed every day, because
they say once you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated.
exactly. So drink half your ideal body weight, and the word there is ideal. So drink half your ideal body weight in ounces of water every day. And this is a kicker. This is the part that I was saying where the lights went off on the phone tree in NBC in New York doing the Today Show. I said, don't drink water 15 minutes prior to eating. Don't drink large amounts of water during eating, and wait 15 minutes after eating.
Okay, that's such an important statement, because I myself have heard the opposite. I would think, okay, I've heard that water actually helps you curb your appetite, so to drink a glass of water during your meal and you won't eat as
You're
much.
talking to all the quackery people out there, because I hear this for the last 30 years in my career,
I drink
especially
like
around.
or I used to
Right.
drink 3 glasses of water, a glass before dinner, a glass or 2 with dinner.
This is what the people say, and theoretically, there's some righteousness to this, but it's not something that I would advise, and I'm going to tell you why. Right before Thanksgiving dinner, people will say some people that call themselves experts in the field will say, drink water before your Thanksgiving dinner. Well, think about this. Yes, you're not going to be as hungry, but when you do eat, you're waterlogging the food, so you're not absorbing or maximizing the absorption of nutrition, and you're just going to have expensive stool. Your protein, the turkey, carbohydrates, mashed potatoes, yams, your essential fatty acids, your triple virgin olive oil or avocado, they're just going to be eliminated through. Food is our energy. Food is essential to growth, for our brain, to our heart. So my recommendation, medical science recommendation, is don't drink large amounts of water during mealtime. The only thing that turns into a semi-solid is milk. And you want to hear something? You don't want to get me on that that rant, because milk is an inflammatory irritant that is hard for anybody to digest. It's got saturated fat, it's got cholesterol, and it literally, we've been brainwashed by our large companies to drink milk for bones. Well, you want to hear something? Vegans who are having your spinach and having your almonds have just as much or more calcium and magnesium than if you, without saturated fat, with zero cholesterol, amazing phytochemicals and antioxidants. So milk is definitely not something that you want to even put in the same category as something to drink.
Yeah. Well, on the flip side of that, and I like to challenge my husband sometimes, okay? Because I hear the same rumors that you all hear too. So, for example, they say when you have the urge to snack or eat more, you're not really hungry. Your body's really craving water. You're thirsty.
And a great example is, let's even take it what we were talking about, drinking water before, a meal. If you have club soda, or if you have seltzer water, that will do the same thing because it's got air bubbles in it. Medical science says it's not the best if you have inflammatory bowel disease like I do with Crohn's disease. It can give you gastric distress. But the point is on your question, is that if you graze and have smaller, more frequent meals during the day, that's going to be a better take than if you're basically having your 3 traditional meals. Think about this. It's like, who made this time clock up? Breakfast to lunch is about 3 hours. lunch to dinner could be anywhere between 5 to 7 to 8 hours. And around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I think vending machines, chocolate, caffeinated drinks were discovered, because around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, if you haven't eaten since 12 noon, you're starting to get that afternoon yawner. You're basically, your insulin levels and your energy levels are going like this, and then they're crashing and burning. But instead of having the caffeine or that chocolate, to give you that pick me up, yes, drink some water. That's going to give you natural energy, and your body, your insides are going to love you.
Yeah. And for example, if you're lost in the desert, and I may be going a little off track here, sometimes that happens with me. But if you're lost in the desert, your body
I want to be lost in the desert with you, baby.
Your body can survive up to, they say, an estimated, depending on a couple factors, up to 21 days without food, but you can't go more than how many days without water?
Right. I mean, you could, I've said it on stage, you could last weeks without food, days, just maybe say a few days without water, and, a few minutes without oxygen. And then I always leave with the hope message, but if you have hope, you're dead on arrival, you just don't know it. So water is so important. Once you start, understand this, once you start dehydrating yourself, the first thing that gets stressed is your heart. Tied for almost first is your brain, because your brain needs blood flow. Think about it, 80% of your blood is water. Then if you don't have enough water, your blood is basically being stressed, where your spleen can't even produce enough blood cells. If you don't have enough blood cells, your blood cells are what carry your oxygen, what carry your nutrients. So then what ends up happening is your kidneys start getting stressed. They start shutting down. Once they start shutting down, game over. Your liver then is affected, and then your mind goes, and then you go into heart failure. So this is real, and that's why it's so important during the hot weather. If you're starting to feel the chills outside, or a cold sweat outside, if you're starting to feel where, even your daughter during, Cedar Point, she started getting a little fuzzy because her face was red and flushed, and you need to make sure immediately you get help. Sip on water, spray your loved one with water, or someone that needs it. Put cold water or ice on extremities such as your wrist, your groin area, your neck. That will again start taking that 98.6, which is our natural temperature. When we go into that emergency mode, we end up creeping up. We could be in the low hundreds, like a fever temperature. That's where we get the shakes. The shakes try to regulate our temperature. If we don't have enough water, we're screwed.
Yeah. And as you're saying, it affects so many different areas of our body, which we just touched on. Your body functions, it regulates your body temperature, it gives you joint lubrication, cell function, your cognitive function, you just mentioned.
And when you exercise too.
Yeah, right. It improves your focus, your concentration, it boosts your mood, physical performance, it helps you support recovery, reduces cramps, it actually reduces the muscle soreness and replenishes fluid in your body.
And I'm going to say why. I mean, great points that Joyce just said. The reason why you get cramps if you're dehydrated is something called potassium, magnesium. So those things relax your muscles. They actually help your heart, which is a muscle, beat. So what I mentioned before about during especially hot weather where you're perspiring, or even say you're in Arizona and you're not perspiring because there's hardly any humidity and it's 110 outside, you go down, you don't even know it. You can be like just outside, just hanging out, and the next thing you know, you're in trouble. the reason why is that the way God made us so naturally, chemically balanced is that there's three things that cause this combustion of electricity in our body that makes our heart beat while we sleep 24/7, thank God. And it's potassium, it's sodium, and it's chloride. And that's why you have your different products. We at Zervito, we have a product called H2O, and it's got all of that plus a little natural energy stuff. Then you got your Gatorades, which in my opinion is a lot of sugar and not the healthiest. But the best way to do this is to make sure that you're hydrating yourself. Put a little lemon in your water, but you need sodium.
Lemon, cucumbers,
Yes.
it all give a little bit, makes a flavor to your
Yes.
water, which is still helping
Yeah.
you get the best benefits, but have a little bit of flavor
And carbohydrates.
for what you crave.
So if you have water, and a lot of times I get many people throughout my career, they'll say, Peter, I don't like the taste of water. Well, some water doesn't taste good to me because it's too hard or it's too soft. So, but water is water. And the point is that if you want a flavored water without going into a store getting garbage and caffeinated stuff, is take an orange or take a lemon. It's got carbohydrates. The carbohydrates are going to help you with your muscles, help you with muscle energy. It's going to be converted as time-release glycogen so that you're not going to crash and burn. So these are all important things, but you should be drinking 3 to 4 ounces of water every 15 to 20 minutes during exercise. If it's extremely hot, you could amp that up about 10 to 15%. But whether it's cold outside, whether it's normal temperatures outside, whether it's very hot outside, you need to make sure that you're hydrating yourself. And I'm not talking about for marathon runners or for people that are bikers or weekend warriors. 3 to 4 ounces of water, just sipping it. And what I would recommend is what I just said, is have a little carbohydrates. So if you mixed, say, even a third, or even a quarter of, say, your 12 ounces of water in, say, your, whatever you use when you're biking or walking, whatever you're utilizing. But if you put just a quarter of your favorite juice, could be apple juice, grape juice, whatever, make sure it's natural, and then put the rest water. Now what you're doing is not only you're hydrating yourself, but again, you're putting a little bit of fructose, a little bit of carbohydrates, so that you're not going to hit a wall while you're 3 miles out and you got 3 miles to walk back or bike,
Yeah, but you're still adding calories in. So if you're a calorie counter, you have to remember that. And if someone like me, you hear the old, what is the saying? You drink X amount of bottles of water a day. What is it? Eight glasses of water a day, I think, is the staple.
That's
but
generic,
when you go
right?
by the water bottles, how many?
Half your ideal body weight in ounces of water every day. So if you want to tell the world how much you weigh, then I'll tell you half of that.
Okay, I will. I weigh 120 pounds right now.
Right. So then
Yes.
you take half of that 120 pounds and you put that in ounces of water, and then you basically, if you want to.
So 80 ounces of water.
It's 80 and 80 is 160.
Okay.
So you're at what, 120? So you're at basically 60, and 60 is 120. So you be doing 60 ounces of water each and every day, and basically just, making sure that what I do is I'll keep some water, down in my office, or I'll keep some water, in a vehicle, not for days, but the point is that I want to remind myself, because I'm the kind of guy that I don't get thirsty. You even tell me. I don't get thirsty.
Right.
And I don't have water ever on the table when I'm eating. People will look and say, what are you drinking? I'm not drinking anything. Now, if the food is really dry, and her food is never dry, then you want to sip on something so you don't choke on it. But it's so important. So 60 ounces of water each and every day for you. For me, I'm about 195 pounds. So you round it off to 200 pounds. That's 100 ounces of water each and every day. Don't drink while you're eating. Wait 15 minutes before, 15 minutes after, so that you're going to maximize the absorption of nutrients.
Well, let's make this a little bit more complicated,
Oh,
because
boy.
you know I love to do that. So for me, okay, you know, I love my lemon water, I really do. Or if we're on vacation, they have those orange and cucumber waters by the pool, etc. We love those. We covered that. However, we have other additives that we do. For example, they have water flavors, even our Zeal, or a coffee additive where it's an 8-ounce glass of water, but you're adding like the coffee to it. Now, is that the same
That's
effect?
a great question. It's a great question. Like Zeal, we're talking about what I'm just drinking here, my bold grape, there's 50 calories to that. So if you want to incorporate that into your macronutrients, into your total daily calories, especially if you're having 3 of these a day, so that's 150 calories, you want to make sure it takes 3,500 calories to lose 1 fat pound. So that 150 calories a day, you know, you start doing that every day for a month, you could just have put on a pound. So it's a great question. So you just need to be diligent with your macronutrients by, number one, knowing how many calories you should be having in each day. And we're going to do another segment on macronutrients. But if you want, you could go to peternielsen.com, and I have a subscription site. You could find out your macros in literally 3 minutes and get meal plans and stuff like that, which it's crazy good. But it's so important, as you're saying, if you're adding something to your coffee, well, what did I just say? A lot of people will count their coffee as water.
Right.
Even though
it's a liquid.
Even though 95% of it is water. But you got caffeine in it. And that caffeine is going to do what?
Diuretic.
It's going to dehydrate you. It is a diuretic. So what's going to need to play is if you're having 16 ounces of coffee, hard coffee, caffeinated coffee each and every day, then you need to surplus H2O to make up the difference of that. Yeah, you may be taking a few more trips to the restroom, but your kidneys are going to love you. The more that that's why even the more protein you have, the more water you should be drinking, because protein is harsh on your kidneys the way alcohol is. So, like my bodybuilding years, I've had so much protein, and sometimes when I would do a blood test, I would see my kidney enzymes and my liver enzymes be just a little high. And it's because of all the protein. Even though the protein was low fat, it still is harsh. So if you're looking to put on muscle, you're up in your protein, drink water.
Water. And you know what? We've talked a lot about the health benefits, but let's go a little bit deeper and talk about the vanity effects.
Well, think about it. I mean, if you
don't
don't hydrate yourself, your skin is one of your largest organs. So your skin needs to be healthy, and it needs to be hydrated with amazing water. So these are such important things that you need to understand.
Yeah, it helps maintain the elasticity in your skin, reduces dryness in your skin, and as we've already discussed, if you're drinking pure water and only adding something like lemon to it versus having something that's a higher calorie, like the juices, even the sports drinks, those all have sugars, calories. It's gonna give you weight gain. So if you want the cleanest, purest version of it, it's water all the way.
And if I could say this, don't drink your fruit. Eat your fruit. Get the fiber. Get the phytochemicals. If you drink 1 glass of apple juice, it's got the same amount of sugars and the same amount of carbohydrates as a 12-ounce can of soda pop. And someone will say, well, one is fructose and the other is dextrose or sucrose. Sugar, sugar, sugar. Your your insulin's going to be released more, and it's going to be released with fat, and you're going to end up wearing it. So again, to not go into the pre-diabetic stage, or if you are, not to become a diabetic, you want to make sure that you have enough fiber, that you drink enough water, and that you're not using juice or soda pop for that matter as your source of water.
Yeah. And if you guys have any more questions about water, what to drink, what not to drink, you can email us at peternielsen.com, or you can find us on social media at Peter and Nielsen.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Yeah, and the email is peter@peternielsen.com, like she said. And if you have any questions, just put it on the comments below.
Yeah.
And we just appreciate you, and we want you to have this 2024 summer to be your healthiest. Knowledge is power. And if you could even have just grabbed one nugget from today's episode, it's only going to help you get unstuck and become that better version, healthier of yourself. So that's what our goal is for you to continue to move forward in a purposeful life. So I appreciate all the questions that you have. I mean, it's
I appreciate your insight. I know it can be a little bit over the top sometimes. So. We all hear the myths, and now we know the answers.
Exactly. And I do want to say, a happy anniversary to this woman. I met her this week. It'll be 3 years that we've been together. We'll be married 2 years in a month from now. But, we met 8 years ago, and then it wasn't the right timing. And then we met each other for our first date 3 years ago, and it's changed the course of my life in such a beautiful way. So thank you.
Oh, I love you.
Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful week. And we just appreciate each and every one of you. We want to hear from you. But most importantly, just keep moving forward and live that purposeful life. Until next week, it's Peter and Joyce Nielsen. God bless.
Drink your water.
Over the years, I realized that being born with an incurable condition called Crohn's disease truly became my rocket fuel. Are you in a situation right now where you feel stuck? You're looking for a breakthrough. I want to take the message of hope on the road with my friends. So join me for the new Life Transformation Tour that starts July 27th in the state of Michigan in Livonia. I'm going to have special guests that are experts in their field, mind, body, and spirit. If you're at a place where you're looking to lose those last 50 pounds, maybe break an addiction, or better a relationship or occupation, join me for the Life Transformation Tour. Let's get better together. Go to thelifetransformation.com for more information.